Our gospel reading this morning comes from the Gospel of Matthew, the 6th chapter, beginning with the 25th verse. Listen now for God's word to us. Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds of the air. They neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they? And can any of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your span of life? And why do you worry about clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. Yet I tell you, even Solomon in all his glory was not clothed like one of these. But if God so clothes the grass of the field, which is alive today, and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, will he not much more clothe you, you of little faith? Therefore, do not worry, saying, what will we eat? Or what will we drink? Or what will we wear? For it is the Gentiles who strive for all these things, and indeed your heavenly Father knows that you need all these things. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks.
Let us go to God and pray. Gracious God, be with us this day. May we hear your word and live your word now and always. Amen. Today we are speaking about worry. This is an emotion that causes people to react in different ways. One of the reactions that most of us have is to ask a lot of questions regarding the topic that one is worried about. Well, as luck would have it, I have common questions that worried people ask when they or their spouse is pregnant. Get ready, here it comes. I am 2 months pregnant now. When will the baby move? With any luck, right after he graduates college. Should I have a baby after 35? Absolutely not. 35 children is more than enough for anyone. My childbirth instructor says it's not pain I'm feeling during labor, it's pressure. Is that true? Yes. In the same way that a tornado is called an air current. What is the most common pregnancy craving? For men to be the ones that get pregnant. What is the most reliable method to determine a baby's sex? Childbirth. Do I have to have a baby shower? It depends on how quickly you can change the diaper. What is the difference between a 9-month pregnant woman and a gorgeous swimsuit model? If the woman's husband knows what's good for him, absolutely nothing. Today's scripture lesson deals with worry. And Jesus wastes no time. Right at the very beginning of this passage, he said, do not worry about your life. He is quick, he is succinct, and not a lot of verbal clutter in what he says. The message is plain and simple. We are not to worry. But we do. We worry about work and school and paying the bills and paying for college. We worry about our health, our children, our aging parents. We even worry about what others think of us. And if I can get personal for just a moment, I have 2 worries that are constantly on my mind. The first is boys. My daughter Lindsay is 13. In just 17 more years, she will be allowed to date. My second worry is about my son, who turned 15 yesterday. You realize that means that in 6 months, that boy could be behind the wheel of a car in this very town. Whatever the issue, it is common for us human beings to worry, to have anxiety about events in our lives. We all do it, but what does it actually mean to worry? The dictionary defines worry as to torment oneself with or suffer from disturbing thoughts. Worry can also mean to bind tightly or to choke. As such, it is crucial that we know what Jesus teaches about worry. It is vital that we have his perspective on the topic of worry. It is imperative that we follow his instructions on this matter. In other words, we need to know how this passage of Scripture relates to our faith and well-being. Don't worry, I'll tell you everything you need to know. The first thing we need to understand is that we are clear on what Jesus is telling us. His command is, do not worry. Now that does not mean that we are to be careless or irresponsible or reckless or to forgo any and all responsibility. It simply means that we are not to live our lives in such a manner that our anxiety and fear control who we are and what we do. In other words, we are not to worry or obsess needlessly. God's desire is for us to achieve a balance so that our lives will be filled not with worry or pressure or doubt, but with discretion and serenity, with trust and joy. Christ also teaches us by reminding us that everything comes from the God of love. For God so loved the world, nothing can separate us from the love of God. Love is of God. They will know that you are my disciples if you have love for one another. God is not a God of spite or revenge or retribution. We do not have to fear God or pay God or earn our way into God's favor. And God does not have a limit on God's grace and forgiveness and mercy and peace. God cares for us. God helps us. God guides us because God loves us. It's really quite simple. If God gave to us our very life, that which is most precious than anything else, and that gift was given out of love, then surely God will give to us the quality and the resources needed to support that life. That is what Jesus is explaining today in our scripture, and he drives this point home by talking about the birds of the air and the lilies of the field. Birds do not have to work for a living, and yet they are well taken care of by God. The lilies, which are filled with such beauty that we will never possess, are simply burned for fuel when they wilt. And we learn from our Old Testament reading that we humans have been set above the animals and the flowers of the field. We are made just a little bit lower than the angels. Most animals spend their lives looking for food, possibly defending themselves and procreating their species. That is lower than humans because we can work and think and reason and learn and grow and live in a life of service to God. If God will take care of all the animals that are not capable of doing what we can accomplish in life and give extreme beauty to a short-lived flower, then surely God will also take care of us. Jesus is reminding us that to be in relationship with our loving Creator is very important. And because God is an active participant in our lives, it is most appropriate in life that we worry less and that we trust God more. When we do that, then our trust in God would lead to, it wouldn't be worry, it would be concern. My study Bible explains the difference between worry and concern. Worry immobilizes. Concern moves you to action. This quote leads us right into the next thing we learn from Jesus. In verse 27, he states, "Can any of you, by worrying, add a single hour to the span of your life?" I love that statement. When you worry needlessly, it is not going to make one bit of difference. So don't do it. In verse 34, Jesus says that one can defeat worry by living each day as it comes. He stresses that it is not a time to worry about what will happen tomorrow, for there is still much to accomplish today. And there is no point in worrying about the past, because the past is the past. Worrying about something that has already happened is counterproductive. If you need to focus on the past, look to it as a guide, so as not to make the same mistakes in the future. Jesus gives a lot of good advice and instruction about needless worry. He packs a ton of information into just these few verses of Scripture. It is a lot to process, a lot to think about, even a lot to worry about. So let's highlight the key points that Jesus wants us to know. The God of love who created each one of us will take care of our needs. Worrying about the future hampers what we can accomplish today. Worrying immobilizes, concern moves us to action. Worry less, trust God more. God is an active participant in our lives. Worrying doesn't help, so don't do it. Concentrate on today, let tomorrow take care of itself. So once upon a time, there were two friends walking down a busy street in New York, in Manhattan. I personally haven't been there, but I hear that it's quite a busy place. It's on my bucket. Now that I'm over 50, I have a bucket list. It's on my bucket list to go to New York City. They were walking down the street at lunchtime, where the street was very busy. And the one friend says to the other, "I think I hear a cricket." And his friend says, "Well, we had it for lunch a couple of days ago, but if you want it again, I guess that's okay." And he said, No, I don't want chicken and biscuits. I said, I thought I heard a cricket. And his friend says, "I hear the traffic. I hear cars honking. I hear people yelling for taxis. I hear all the hundreds of people on the street walking up and down at lunchtime. I hear people having conversations in restaurants that are spilling out into the patios. I even hear jackhammers and construction workers. But I do not hear a cricket." And his friend says, "No, I am absolutely sure. I can hear a cricket." And he closes his eyes, he takes a deep breath, and he walks about 2 doors down in front of a big hotel. And in the corner of the hotel is a planter. And he goes over and he digs in the soil, and sure enough, there in the cool soil, he pulls out a cricket, just happy and chirping away. And his friend's amazed. He says, "Is that your superpower? That you have superpower hearing?" And the man laughs and he says, "No." He says, "I believe that in life, it all depends on what your focus is. What it is that is important to you is what you will hear, and is what you will make your heart move." He says, "What's important to me is God and God's creation, that we're all created for a purpose, that even crickets and insects belong in God's world. That's what my heart is tuned to. So I can very proudly take a moment and hear crickets and respect crickets, and I can let that move me to do God's work in the world, because it all depends on where your focus is." And then he reached into his pocket and he pulled out 20 silver dollars, and he did this. He watched them all, and then they came down and they scattered all over the pavement. And all those people eating and walking and on their phones all stopped and turned around, and as many as they could went to pick up those silver dollars and put them in their own pockets. He says it all depends on where your focus is. What is it in life that's important to you? That's a good question as we go out today. What is important to you? Where is your focus? Is it on self and worry and doubt? Is it on money and power and prestige? Is it on being the best you can be and taking care of your family and being a good person? What is your focus? Here's what all of our focus should be: to seek first the kingdom of God and God's righteousness.
Amen.
Thank you. I'm not going to say amen. To seek God first and God's righteousness should be our focus. If we do that, then we don't need to worry. If we do that, we can worry less. We can trust God more. If God is our first focus in this life, the first thing we do when we wake up in the morning, the last thing we do when we go to bed at night is God. If that is our focus, then we don't have to worry at all. Let us. Gracious God, we are grateful for what you gave. Help us to make you our focus so that we can focus on helping, loving, and serving your people.